Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Yeshi Johnson. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 10th of August. India records lowest daily COVID-19 count in 147 days. US says it is up to Afghans to defend country as Taliban take more territory. And Imran Khan, helpless PM, there is no democracy in Pakistan, says banned journalist. And now for all the details. India on Tuesday logged 28,204 daily COVID-19 infections, the lowest in 5 months, taking the cases tally to 31.99 million. Meanwhile, Delhi's Health Minister Satyendra Jain said on Tuesday that COVID-19 Delta variant has been detected in at least 80% of the samples which were sent for genome sequencing in the last 3 months.
India on Tuesday reported 28,204 COVID-19 infections over the last 24 hours, the lowest since March 16, taking the cases tally to 31.99 million. Overall deaths in the country increased by 373 overnight, pushing the toll to 428,682. In view of the threat posed by the possible third wave of the coronavirus pandemic, the centre government has ramped up production of vaccines. The country's Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia on Tuesday said the government has approved Bharat Biotech's vaccine manufacturing facility in western Gujarat state to ramp up production of Covaxin, India's first indigenously made anti-COVID vaccine. Meanwhile, Delhi's Health Minister Satyendra Jain said on Tuesday that the COVID-19 Delta variant has been detected in at least 80% of the samples sent for genome sequencing in the national capital in the last 3 months.
सेकेंड वेव थी या दिल्ली की फोर्थ वेव थी, उसमें भी 80% से ज़्यादा डेल्टा वेरिएंट ही था. तो हमने उस टाइम के जो सैंपल हमारे पास रखे थे उनको भी सीक्वेंसिंग करा के देखा है और उसके बाद वाले भी, दोनों में लगभग बराबर 80% डेल्टा वेरिएंट ही आ रहा है.
The Delta variant, identified in India in December 2020, was majorly behind the deadly second COVID wave that infected and killed thousands in the country, after which inoculation has been ramped up. India has so far administered over 500 million COVID-19 vaccines.
India has asked its nationals to leave Afghanistan on a special flight from Mazar-e-Sharif amid intense fighting with the Taliban. It asked Indian nationals who want to leave by the special flight to submit the details like their full name and passport number to the consulate there immediately. Around 1,500 Indians are currently staying in Afghanistan according to government data. Moving on. The United States has said it was up to Afghan security forces to defend the country after Taliban militants captured a 6th provincial capital on Monday, along with border towns and trade routes. Pentagon spokesman John Kirby in a press briefing on Monday said the US was deeply concerned about the trend but that Afghan security forces had the capability to fight the insurgent group. Pentagon spokesman John Kirby in a press briefing said that the security situation in Afghanistan was not going in the right direction as Taliban militants captured a 6th provincial Afghan capital on Monday along with border towns and trade routes. He expressed that United States was deeply concerned about the trend, but the Afghan security forces had the capability to fight the insurgent group and it was them to defend the country. The Taliban, fighting to reimpose strict Islamic law after their 2001 ouster, have stepped up their campaign to defeat the government as foreign forces withdraw.
The reason why not is because it's their country to defend now. This is their struggle. The commander-in-chief has given us a new mission, and that mission is to draw down by the end of this month, and that's where we're moving to. What it looks like beyond that, I'm simply not going to speculate. But this is their country. These are their military forces. These are their provincial capitals. Their people to defend, and it's really going to come down to the leadership that they're willing to exude here at this particular moment.
US envoy for Afghanistan Zalmay Khalilzad has left for Qatar, where he will press the Taliban to stop their military offensive and to negotiate a political settlement, the State Department said on Monday. In talks over 3 days, representatives from governments and multilateral organizations will press for a reduction of violence and ceasefire, and a commitment not to recognize a government imposed by force. Meanwhile, Pakistani Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi in a news conference on Monday said the international community needed to look into the failures of Afghan security forces in the face of Taliban offensives across Afghanistan, instead of blaming the country for the fast deteriorating situation. Kabul and several Western governments say Pakistan's support for the Taliban allowed it to weather 20 years of war after being pushed from power in 2001. Pakistan denies supporting the Taliban. In news from Pakistan, Hamid Mir, a prominent Pakistani journalist, has laid bare the narrowing space for press freedom and growing threat against scribes in his country. The former host of a famous political TV talk show, Mir, in an interview with the BBC, said that democracy and constitution are only a name in Pakistan and he is a living example of censorship. Mir was suspended from his TV show in May following comments over the powerful military for its role in media crackdown at a protest against an attack on another journalist. He said even Prime Minister Imran Khan, like previous Prime Ministers, is helpless and not directly responsible for ban on him. In June, 3 international rights groups in a joint statement had voiced grave concern over alleged military-backed attacks on journalists in Pakistan and mounting pressure on scribes critical of the government. More news from Pakistan. As Pakistan continues its massive drive to plant 10 billion trees to reduce smoke, Prime Minister Imran Khan urged his citizens to heed the dire warnings in a UN climate change report released on Monday. Global warming is dangerously close to spiraling out of control, a UN climate panel said in a landmark report on Monday, warning the world is already certain to face further climate disruptions for decades, if not centuries, to come.
Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan urged his citizens to heed the dire warnings in a UN climate change report released on Monday as he inaugurated what officials say is the largest urban Miyawaki forest project in the world. Using a technique pioneered by the late Japanese botanist Akira Miyawaki, the forest covers 12.5 acres and has more than 165,000 plants. Officials say the trees are expected to grow 10 times faster than normal due to the Miyawaki technique of planting them close together. The forest is one of 53 such sites in Lahore that are expected to work as carbon sinks. The city of 10 million has grappled with smog in recent years that has forced schools to close and earned it a ranking among the world's most polluted cities.
आज सारे पाकिस्तानियों को कहूँगा कि अगर आपको फ़िक्र अपने बच्चों की, उनके मुस्तकबिल की, जो भी ये देख रहे हैं, आपको इसमें कम से कम एक दरख्त लगाना चाहिए और फिर उसकी परवरिश करनी चाहिए.
The UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change said Monday that human influence has warmed the atmosphere, ocean and land. Even the starkest measures to reduce emissions, it said, would not prevent a global warming of 1.5 degrees Celsius and the extreme weather and rising sea levels resulting from that change. Since the tree planting drive started in 2018, Pakistan has 1 billion more trees and is planting another 500 million during the monsoon season.
Moving on to news from Nepal. Nepal on Monday rolled out its vaccination drive to administer second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine for people aged over 65, finally ending the wait for the jab after the stock had earlier run out. Senior citizens queued up at vaccination centres in capital Kathmandu as the Nepal government on Monday rolled out its inoculation drive for the elderly for the second dose of COVID-19 vaccine. People aged over 65 became eligible from March to receive their first AstraZeneca Oxford shots from India, but were unable to get their second dose after the stock ran out. After an international appeal by the government for vaccines, Japan donated 1.6 million AstraZeneca shots and neighbouring Bhutan sent another 230,000. But the ground reality and struggle of people to take the jabs have continued to remain the same, as the elderly people had to wait in queues for hours due to various logistical and managerial failures.
म 9 बजे आएँ हैन, लाइन बस्यो, लाइन बसेको मान्छेहरूलाई पछि के अरे टोकन दिने भने पहिला त्यो टोकन कहाँ हरायो, यो व्यवस्थापन चाहिँ खतमै छ यहाँको।
This came after Nepal's five-party coalition government on August 9 unveiled its common minimum policy and program, prioritizing free COVID-19 vaccination for all citizens. Meanwhile, the Himalayan nation on Tuesday reported 2,609 new coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours, taking the nationwide infection tally to 717,486. The Indian Army on Tuesday inaugurated the tallest national flag in India's Jammu and Kashmir territory on a 100-feet mast in ski resort town of Gulmarg. This comes days ahead of the country's 74th Independence Day on August 15.
The Indian Army inaugurated the tallest national flag in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir territory on a huge 100-feet mast in the famed tourist destination of Gulmarg on Tuesday, ahead of the country's 74th Independence Day on August 15. In an effort to bind the restive region closer to the rest of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government had withdrawn long-standing constitutional privileges accorded to Jammu and Kashmir on 5th of August 2019. The move also outlawed a different constitution, symbols and flag of Kashmir, and the territory is now represented by the flag of India.
जी एक्चुअली हमने इतना बड़ा फ्लैग ज़िंदगी में पहली बार देखा, बहुत ही ज़्यादा प्राइड का मोमेंट था हमारे लिए और अच्छे से सेलिब्रेट करा और इतना अच्छा ऑनर मिला हमें यहाँ पे।
The Indian Army had in February laid the foundation stone of the tallest coveted national flag in Gulmarg, which is one of the most visited tourist places in the Union Territory. The flag symbolizes the beginning of a new era of peace and patriotism in Kashmir, the army said in a statement.
A community radio station in India's western Maharashtra state is broadcasting educational content for tribal and underprivileged students who do not have access to smartphones and the internet amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The radio station has collaborated with around 200 teachers and recorded their lectures on a variety of subjects for the benefit of students.
A community radio station named Radio Vishwas is giving audio classes to school students, especially from tribal and underprivileged backgrounds in Nasik district of India's western Maharashtra state amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to the pandemic, the education sector has been adversely affected. Now, classes take place online through smartphones and the internet, but this kind of education is still inaccessible to many. Radio Vishwas collaborated with around 200 teachers and recorded their lectures on a variety of subjects, and they were broadcasted via radio. This benefited thousands of children from far-off and tribal areas, the director of radio station said.
जिला परिषद के स्कूलों के विद्यार्थियों के लिए तो ये सुविधा भी अवेलेबल नहीं थी, क्योंकि उनके पास मोबाइल भी नहीं थे और उस तरह के ऐप भी स्कूलों ने तैयार नहीं किए। इसलिए रेडियो विश्वास ने अपना एक नासिक जिले से लगभग 200 शिक्षकों के माध्यम से अपने अपने विषय के हिसाब से एक लेक्चर्स रिकॉर्ड किए और वो प्रसारित किए।
Underprivileged children of the Nasik district arranged common radio among themselves with the help of their schools and are continuing their studies. The program Education for All by Radio Vishwas has won 2 awards by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting in the COVID-19 era.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/AsAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @AsAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.